It started with something stupid, a flat tire on a Tuesday afternoon. I left work early that day, a rare thing, because the office server crashed, and it told us to just go home. I was actually excited. Maybe I could surprise my wife, Mel, pick up some Thai food, watch a movie together like we used to. I stopped by our regular place, grabbed her favorite, pad see-ew, extra tofu, and was back in the car when the warning light blinked on. Front left tire, pressure 0. Great. I pulled into the first gas station I could find, figuring I'd fill it up and check for a nail. The air pump was down, of course. I was annoyed, but whatever. I called roadside assistance and decided to wait it out in the car with the food still warm beside me. That's when I saw her, Mel, walking down the street. She was wearing the beige trench coat I bought her last winter, hair up in a bun, heels clacking on the pavement. At first, I smiled. What a weird coincidence. But then I noticed something off. She wasn't coming from work. Mel works uptown in a law office. This was nowhere near her job. And she wasn't alone. A man was walking beside her. Not just beside, close. Too close. They weren't holding hands or anything, but the body language screamed intimacy. I froze. They walked into a small cafe 2 blocks down. I know the place. It's cute, indie, the kind of spot you go to be seen if you're trying to impress someone, not hide something. 1,000 things ran through my head. Should I follow her? Call her? I looked at my phone, hand shaking, then put it down. Instead, I waited. 30 minutes later, she came out laughing. He was holding the door for her, smiling like he knew her, like he'd earned that smile. They didn't kiss, didn't touch, but the tension between them was obvious, practiced. I didn't say anything that night. When she came home, she was her usual self. Said work had been draining, and she was crashing early. I just nodded and smiled, lying there next to her, food barely touched, pretending I didn't see everything. But I knew something was happening, and I was going to find out. The next day, I couldn't focus. I sat at my desk staring at spreadsheets and pretending to work, but my mind kept replaying yesterday. Her laugh, the way she looked at him, the trench coat. It felt like I was watching a movie where I already knew the ending, but I didn't want to accept it. By lunch, I'd made up my mind. I needed to know more. I started with the basics. Mel's calendar. We both synced our Google calendars when we got married, mostly for practical reasons. Birthdays, vacations, appointments. I hadn't checked hers in months, but when I opened it up, I saw something strange. Yesterday's afternoon, marked as client consult, downtown office. Downtown, where I saw her. It could have been legit. She works in legal mediation. Client meetings pop up randomly. But the problem was, there's no downtown office. Her firm has one location, uptown. I knew because I'd been there. Picked her up plenty of times. Dropped off lunch. Sent flowers once. When she got that promotion, I decided to call the firm. Hi, this is Ryan Peterson. My wife, Melanie Peterson, works there. I think she might be left something at the office yesterday during a client meeting downtown. Can I check if anyone saw her leave? The receptionist paused. Mel wasn't in the office yesterday afternoon. She took a personal half day. I thanked her and hung up, hands clammy. My heart was beating in my throat. Why lie? It's not like I wouldn't have understood a half day. She works hard. She deserves breaks. But she lied about where she was, and that meant something. That night, I watched her again. She came home, made small talk about the heat and a rude guy on the subway, kissed me on the cheek, opened a bottle of wine like everything was normal. I didn't say a word, just smiled, pretended. But inside, I was unraveling. I started digging. For the next week, I played dumb. But every day, I tracked her calendar, followed her location through our shared Find My app. She didn't know I used it anymore. We'd set it up for safety years ago, and never turned it off. And what I found was patterns. Every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, she worked late, or had client consults. And every single time, her location pinged from a quiet little street in Queens, far from any law office. Then I checked our bank account. Mel and I keep a joint account for bills and big expenses, but we also have personal checking accounts. Again, something we agreed on early in our marriage. Nothing secretive. We just liked a bit of financial independence. But on a hunch, I logged into our joint credit card. 2 charges from the last week. One at the indie cafe I saw her in and another from a hotel. A boutique one, midtown. The kind that charges by the hour, or offers executive escapes. $172.36. Billed Thursday at 3:41 p.m. My chest went cold. I stared at the screen for a long time, trying to convince myself it was innocent. I needed answers, not guesses, not hunches. Cold, hard truth. So I did something I never imagined I'd do. I followed her. It was Thursday. She left that morning like everything was normal. packed her work bag, kissed me goodbye, even reminded me to take the trash out. I waited an hour, then left too, taking a personal day from work. She was at the office in the morning. I confirmed that by checking her location, watching her move around the building uptown. But at 12:57 p.m., her dot started moving downtown again. I got in my car and followed, hanging back far enough not to be noticed, but close enough to keep her in sight. She took the Q train to Queens, got off near Astoria, and walked several blocks to a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood. She stopped in front of a brownstone apartment. He was already waiting outside. Same guy. Tan jacket, clean cut, maybe late 30s. Not a random hookup. This guy was comfortable with her. He kissed her cheek when she approached, opened the door, and they both went inside like this was routine. I parked down the block, heart pounding in my chest. I waited and waited. They didn't come out for hours. By the time she emerged again, hair down now, lips a little too red, coat slightly rumpled, the sun was starting to dip behind the buildings. They laughed at something. She touched his chest. Then she kissed him on the mouth. Not some fleeting, awkward thing, but slow, deliberate, like it wasn't their first time, like she'd done it 100 times before. And in that moment, something broke in me. It wasn't the kiss. It was her face. She looked peaceful, content, like she was home. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I sat in my car for nearly an hour after she walked away. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. My chest felt like it was full of glass. How long had this been going on? Who was this guy? What did he know about me? Or worse, did he not know I existed? I thought back through our marriage. We'd been together 8 years. Married 5. No kids. We always said we'd wait until we were more stable. There had been ups and downs, like any couple, but nothing that screamed affair. Sure, we'd been more like roommates lately, and maybe I'd gotten complacent. But cheating, a second life. That night, I couldn't sleep. I laid next to her in bed, staring at the ceiling while she softly breathed beside me. My mind kept going back to her laugh with him, the way her eyes lit up. I hadn't seen her look at me like that in years. Something had changed in her, long before I noticed. The next day, I called my friend David. David works in private security, ex-cop. Now he runs a small agency that mostly handles corporate stuff, background checks, discreet surveillance. I didn't want to involve anyone, but I needed help. I didn't know what I was doing, emotionally or practically. I think she's cheating, I told him. Can you find out who the guy is? There was a long pause. Send me a photo, he said. I'll take care of it. I sent him one I'd taken from the car. A blurry zoom in, but clear enough to show the guy's face. It only took 2 days. David called me Saturday morning. His name's Jordan Miller, 37, works in digital marketing, freelance, divorced, no kids, lives alone, clean record, and, he paused, he's been seeing Melanie for over a year. I sat down. A year? Yeah. Looks like they met through some mediation thing. He was a client. She was supposed to help him negotiate a settlement with his ex. Turned into something else. I felt sick. David continued. They've taken trips together. I checked his socials, private, but not scrub. She's not in any of the pics, but the locations match with hers. Same bars, same parks, even a weekend in upstate New York, 2 months ago. My wife had a boyfriend, a second relationship, and I had no idea. I spent the rest of the day in a fog. It's one thing to suspect, another to know, to have the name, the timeline, the reality staring you in the face like a train barreling toward you with no brakes. Jordan Miller, a stranger. And yet he knew my wife in ways I didn't. He probably knew how she liked her coffee now, her favorite wine, which side of the bed she preferred when she wasn't sleeping next to me. I found myself obsessing over him, searching for pictures, LinkedIn, anything. I wanted to know, what made him better? Was he younger, richer, more charming? The truth. He was average, handsome, sure, fit, seemed confident, but nothing I couldn't be, nothing I hadn't been once. That night, I watched her again. We were supposed to go out to dinner, some sushi place she loved, but she canceled last minute, said she had a late client consult and would grab something on the go. I nodded, said it was fine. She didn't even notice I didn't look up from my phone. Her location, Queens. Same street, same apartment. Again. I stared at the little dot on my screen like it was mocking me. She stayed until nearly midnight. I didn't sleep, not even a minute. The next morning, I decided to confront her, but not like a madman. I wanted her to tell me the truth. I wanted to give her a chance to come clean. Maybe a small, pathetic part of me hoped she'd cry, beg, say she made a mistake, that we could fix it. I made her breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee, the way she liked it. She came downstairs in one of my old college t-shirts, smiled like nothing was wrong. I wanted to scream. Instead, I said, "Can I ask you something?" She paused, toast halfway to her mouth. "Sure. Are you happy?" She blinked. "What? In this marriage? With me? Are you happy?" She furrowed her brow. "Where is this coming from? Just answer me," I said, keeping my voice even. She looked down, then up again. "I mean, yeah, I think so. We've been through a lot. Things have been a little off lately, but I love you." A beat of silence passed. "Why are you asking me this?" I stared at her for a long moment, and then I said, "Do you love someone else?" She froze. I saw it. That half-second glitch in her face. The way her body stiffened. "Why would you say that?" she said, too quickly. "I saw you, Mel, with him." The blood drained from her face. "Tuesday, Indie Cafe, beige trench coat. You laughed. He touched your back. You kissed him 2 days later outside his apartment in Astoria." She opened her mouth, then closed it again. And just like that, the mask dropped. She exhaled slowly and looked away. "How long have you known?" I spent the rest of the day in a fog. It's one thing to suspect, another to know, to have the name, the timeline, the reality staring you in the face like a train barreling toward you with no brakes. Jordan Miller, a stranger. And yet he knew my wife in ways I didn't. He probably knew how she liked her coffee now, her favorite wine, which side of the bed she preferred when she wasn't sleeping next to me. I found myself obsessing over him, searching for pictures, LinkedIn, anything. I wanted to know, what made him better? Was he younger, richer, more charming? The truth, he was average, handsome, sure, fit, seemed confident, but nothing I couldn't be, nothing I hadn't been once. That night, I watched her again. We were supposed to go out to dinner, some sushi place she loved, but she canceled last minute, said she had a late client consult, and would grab something on the go. I nodded, said it was fine. She didn't even notice I didn't look up from my phone. Her location, Queens. Same street, same apartment. Again, I stared at the little dot on my screen like it was mocking me. She stayed until nearly midnight. I didn't sleep, not even a minute. The next morning, I decided to confront her, but not like a madman. I wanted her to tell me the truth. I wanted to give her a chance to come clean. Maybe a small, pathetic part of me hoped she'd cry, beg, say she made a mistake, that we could fix it. I made her breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee, the way she liked it. She came downstairs in one of my old college t-shirts, smiled like nothing was wrong. I wanted to scream. Instead, I said, "Can I ask you something?" She paused, toast halfway to her mouth. "Sure. Are you happy?" She blinked. "What? In this marriage? With me? Are you happy?" She furrowed her brow. "Where is this coming from? Just answer me," I said, keeping my voice even. She looked down, then up again. "I mean, yeah, I think so. We've been through a lot. Things have been a little off lately, but I love you." A beat of silence passed. "Why are you asking me this?" I stared at her for a long moment, and then I said, "Do you love someone else?" She froze. I saw it. That half-second glitch in her face. The way her body stiffened. "Why would you say that?" she said, too quickly. "I saw you, Mel, with him." The blood drained from her face. "Tuesday, Indie Cafe, beige trench coat. You laughed. He touched your back. You kissed him 2 days later outside his apartment in Astoria." She opened her mouth, then closed it again. And just like that, the mask dropped. She exhaled slowly and looked away. "How long have you known?" I didn't say anything for what felt like hours. Just stood there, hands clenched at my sides, heart pounding so hard I thought I'd black out. She cried. Not hysterical, not dramatic, just quiet tears rolling down her face like she'd been waiting to let them out for months. I wanted to scream, throw something, ask why, but none of that would change what I already knew. She loved him, not me. Finally, I asked, "Are you going to leave me?" Her mouth trembled. "I don't know." That answer hit harder than any punch. No. Not even a lie to soften the blow. Just I don't know. "Are you still seeing him?" A beat. Then, yes. I nodded slowly. "That's all I need to know." I walked upstairs, grabbed my keys, wallet, and a bag, didn't even pack properly, just stuffed in random clothes like I was escaping a fire. Because in a way, I was. As I walked to the door, she said my name. "Ryan, please." I turned back. "You lied to me for a year, slept beside me, ate dinner with me, celebrated our anniversary while you were king someone else." Her face crumbled, but I didn't care. "I don't know who you are anymore," I said, "and I don't think you do either." And I left. I stayed with David for a few days. Told work I had a family emergency. I didn't tell anyone the full story, not yet. I wasn't ready for the pity, the advice, the "I told you" SOS. I just needed time to think. Mel sent texts, long ones, apologies, explanations. She said she never meant to hurt me, that it started as emotional, and she didn't know how to stop it. That Jordan gave her something I didn't, made her feel seen, like she was alive, as if being with me had made her a ghost. Then she dropped the bomb. She wanted to talk in person. I owe you the truth, she wrote. All of it. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a park, neutral ground, mid-afternoon, quiet. She looked tired, worn, not the glowing woman I saw on that street corner 2 weeks ago. She sat down next to me on a bench, and didn't say anything for a full minute. Then she began. It started with Jordan after his mediation ended. We kept emailing, at first just checking in, then talking about life. He was going through a divorce. I was lonely. I said nothing. You were always working, she continued. Always tired. I don't blame you for that, Ryan. I know you were trying, but I felt like I didn't matter anymore. Like I was invisible in our own house. And instead of talking to me, I said quietly, you started sleeping with him. She flinched. It didn't start physical. Not right away. But yeah, eventually, it did. Did you ever think about stopping? She nodded. I tried. A dozen times. But every time I saw him it just felt right, and I hated myself for it. I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger, a person who had built a separate world behind my back, and moved into it like I never existed. So what now? I asked. She looked away. I don't know. I still love you, Ryan. I really do. But you love him more. She didn't answer. A week passed. Then 2. I didn't go back home. Didn't respond to most of her messages. I moved into a short-term rental, a tiny 1-bedroom with peeling paint and a leaky faucet. But it was quiet. Mine. Safe. At night, I'd lay on the couch with a beer in one hand and the TV on mute, staring into the silence. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal, it was the memories. Everywhere I looked in my head, I saw her, laughing in the kitchen while making pancakes, dancing in socks on hardwood floors, falling asleep on my chest during a thunderstorm. I couldn't turn those moments off like a light switch, and that's what made it hell. And then, one afternoon, she showed up. I was walking back from the grocery store, when I saw her car parked outside my building. She was sitting in the front seat, hands gripping the wheel like she'd been rehearsing what to say for hours. When she saw me, she got out fast. Please, just 5 minutes. I wanted to turn around, but I didn't. She followed me inside and stood awkwardly by the door while I put the groceries down. Finally, she said, I ended it. I turned. What? With Jordan? I ended it. I didn't know what to say. Was that supposed to fix something? She swallowed hard. It was never just about him. It was about me. How lost I felt. How invisible I let myself become. I stayed quiet. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said, voice shaking. I just want you to know. I chose you. I want to try again. I stared at her. This woman I once promised forever to. The one who used to be my best friend. The one who shattered everything we built like it was a sandcastle. I don't think I can, I said. Her face cracked. Please. You didn't just cheat, Mel. You built a life without me. A whole second world. And you didn't just fall into it. You walked into it. Over and over. She was crying now, silently, like she had no more strength to sob. I don't hate you, I said, but I don't trust you. And without trust, what do we even have? She didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. 2 months later, I filed for divorce. There was no dramatic blow-up, no screaming, just signatures on paper, 2 adults separating what they once promised to hold together for life. She moved out of our house. I sold it a month later to many ghosts. I heard through mutual friends that Jordan moved away. Apparently, he didn't want baggage. Or maybe he didn't want to be with someone who could lie that well for that long. Ironic. As for me, I'm rebuilding, slowly, messily. Some mornings, I wake up and still reach for her side of the bed. Others, I feel free, like I'm finally breathing again. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know when I'll be ready to love again. But I know one thing. Sometimes, the smallest cracks, a missed dinner, a strange calendar entry, a flat tire, are just the surface. And what's beneath is the truth you were never meant to see. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you can never go back.